Max Verstappen just said Red Bull won't win any more races this year, and not everyone at the team is happy about that. What seems like a simple statement after a bad weekend could be the spark that ignites an internal crisis in Milton Keynes. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, do you think Verstappen is being realistic or is he demotivating the entire team? Could Max's words be the first step toward a future away from Red Bull? Stay until the end, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Today we're going to break down the tensions within Red Bull following Verstappen's statements and how McLaren could be taking advantage of the situation. After the Hungarian Grand Prix, the atmosphere at Red Bull changed completely. Max Verstappen, who for years has been the team's driving force and most dominant figure, finished in an unexpected 9th place. The most striking aspect wasn't just the on-track result, but what he said into the microphone. "We're not going to win any more races this year." That statement fell like a bucket of cold water inside Milton Keynes and, according to analyst Bernie Collins, had an immediate effect on the morale of the engineers and mechanics. In a sport so dependent on teamwork, hearing from your star driver that he sees no chance of victory can be deeply demotivating. To understand the magnitude of the situation, it's important to remember that Red Bull has been accustomed to fighting and winning at almost every circuit over the past few seasons. These kinds of statements break with the team's usual narrative and can be interpreted as a sign of frustration or even as an internal warning. Collins interprets Max's words not only as an expression of discontent, but also as an attempt to exert pressure. It's a direct message to the technical management. The RB21's grip and balance issues in slow corners cannot continue unaddressed. This poor performance in Hungary is not an isolated case. For months, Red Bull has encountered serious difficulties on tracks that require high traction and stability at low speeds. McLaren, for its part, has taken advantage of this weakness, fully exploiting its chassis and powertrain to maintain a consistent pace. This technical gap is becoming a real threat to Red Bull's championship aspirations, and the most worrying thing is that there seems to be no immediate solution that will level the playing field. Furthermore, there is a political undertone that cannot be ignored. Jos Verstappen, Max's father and influential figure in his career, has made no secret in the past of his willingness to consider other options if he perceives the project losing its way. Therefore, these statements not only impact the sporting aspect, but also fuel speculation about the future of the team's most important driver. Every word Max utters, especially in moments of frustration, is watched by rivals, the press, and above all, Red Bull management. Following Verstappen's statements, the media environment quickly became filled with speculation. In specialized forums and on social media, fans began to debate whether Max's words were simply a venting rant or, in fact, a calculated message. Many users on communities like Reddit agree that, behind the frustration, there could be a strategy to pressure management to accelerate technical and development changes to the RB21. Among the most discussed rumors is the existence of a supposed alternative plan for aerodynamic design. According to these conversations, Red Bull could be evaluating extensive modifications that have not been made public. These adjustments, while requiring wind tunnel time and significant resources, could restore the car's competitiveness on circuits where it is currently at a disadvantage. Other rumors point to more strategic moves. Some insiders suggest that Jos Verstappen is discreetly exploring contractual terms that would allow for a team change before 2028. The tension is also amplified by direct competition. McLaren is not only in great technical form, but drivers like Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are exerting constant pressure on the track. Amid the growing media attention and speculation that have arisen following his statements, Red Bull's official position has been to try to contain the tension and send a message of stability. Laurent Mekies, the current team principal, has made it clear that Max Verstappen's words do not represent a state of surrender, but rather a reflection of a moment of frustration after a difficult weekend in Hungary. Laurent Mekies, the team principal, has firmly rejected the idea that Verstappen's words reflect the true potential of the RB21. According to Mekies, what happened in Hungary was an isolated incident, influenced by a difficult weekend and a circuit that historically does not favor the team. His message has been clear: the entire project cannot be judged by an adverse result at a specific track. Mekies insisted that the entire season cannot be evaluated by performance at a circuit that historically doesn't favor the team, recalling that at other tracks, such as Spa, the RB21 has shown solid and competitive performance. His goal has been to reinforce confidence in both the project and the staff, conveying that there is still room to fight and that the season is far from lost. This optimistic approach is not only an attempt to protect the team's image externally, but also an internal strategy to maintain group cohesion and morale. Mekies knows that, in a sport where every tenth of a second can make a difference, the work environment and staff motivation are determining factors in finding quick and effective solutions. Aware of the pressure McLaren exerts at each race, the Red Bull boss tries to ensure that his engineers and mechanics don't get caught up in a pessimistic narrative that could affect collective performance. Furthermore, Mekies has made it clear that improvements will continue, albeit at a more gradual pace at this stage of the season, reflecting a pragmatic approach to maintaining development without compromising the future. Verstappen's position has been more complex. He hasn't reversed his statements, but he has clarified that his intention was not to demoralize the team, but rather to express a realistic view of the current situation. For the Dutchman, telling the truth doesn't mean abandoning the ambition to win, but rather recognizing that achieving it requires greater effort and specific changes in key areas of the car. This frankness, however, is divisive. Some interpret it as demanding leadership pushing the team toward its best version, while others see it as a risk to internal harmony and the team's public image. His stance has been that of a driver who demands more, but remains committed to the project. In subsequent interviews, he has clarified that his words were an expression of realism, not surrender. However, that line is a fine one, and it is interpreted differently both inside and outside the team. In this delicate balance, Red Bull must act intelligently to prevent the differences of perspective between its star driver and management from escalating into open conflict. Mekies and the rest of the technical leadership, including important figures like Helmut Marko, not only have the responsibility of improving the car's performance, but also of ensuring that Verstappen feels supported and listened to. The relationship between a champion team and its lead driver is a strategic asset that cannot be eroded, especially with significant regulatory changes like those in 2026 approaching. Any rift, no matter how small, could have consequences that go beyond the current season. The technical priority is clear, closing the performance gap that has become evident on low and medium-speed circuits. To achieve this, it will be necessary to implement precise aerodynamic improvements, fine-tuning the RB21's balance and grip without sacrificing the stability it's known for on other tracks. This is a challenge that requires not only creativity in the technical department, but also an ability to react immediately so that solutions translate into visible results before the championship slips away. The challenge is not only technical, but also emotional and political. Management must find a balance to keep Verstappen motivated. This is where internal communication will play a central role. A team that conveys unity externally is more likely to withstand pressure and maintain focus on results. Another key point will be the management of human and technical resources. The team needs Yuki Tsunoda to provide consistent data to accelerate improvements. If the second driver fails to maximize the car's potential, the entire burden of development will fall on Verstappen, something that could wear him down. The consistency of both drivers will be decisive in assessing whether Red Bull can regain control of the championship. Meanwhile, their direct rivals will not give up ground. McLaren will continue to exploit their current advantage, maximizing every opportunity to score points and consolidate their position as Red Bull's most dangerous rival. If results don't come soon for Red Bull's team, the perception that the team's dominant era is over will only grow stronger. Time is a limited resource, and each Grand Prix without noticeable improvements will reduce the chances of a successful season finale. In short, what began as a statement of frustration after a poor weekend in Hungary has become a real focal point in the world of Formula One. Max Verstappen's words have not only sparked a debate about Red Bull's current performance, but have also opened the door to speculation about its future. Bernie Collins has clearly warned that such messages can damage team morale, especially at a time when cohesion and motivation are essential to reversing a negative trend. On the other hand, Laurent Mekies has attempted to counter the tension with an optimistic speech, arguing that the car's potential is still there and that, with hard work and smart adjustments, it is possible to once again compete head-to-head with McLaren. The reality is that, beyond interpretations, the climate within Red Bull has changed, and how this situation is managed will be key to the outcome of the season. In this context, each race becomes a test, not only for the car and the engineers, but also for the strength of the relationship between Verstappen and the team. If results don't come soon, the media hype will grow, and with it, the pressure on all parties involved. Max Verstappen remains the epicenter of this story. His talent and ability to squeeze every tenth of a second out of the car are beyond question, but even the best driver needs an environment that provides confidence and stability. If Red Bull manages to transform this tense period into renewed momentum, it could emerge stronger and maintain its dominance in the category. Now I'll leave the question to you. I want to know your opinion. Do you think Max Verstappen will manage to stay at Red Bull and lead a new cycle of success? Your opinion is key. Share your opinion, leave me in the comments what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.